Hey there, we are Jake and Janae Morris, medical missionaries in Papua New Guinea, along with our 6 children.
The past 2 years, our family has been blessed to take an annual retreat to Greece, which is a wonderful time after working hard in Papua New Guinea for some reflection and restoration.
Last year, we spent a week in majestic Marathon, Greece, on the coast southeast of Athens, and then a week on the beautiful island of Crete. This past October, we broadened our travels and went to Italy, Greece, and Egypt during 3 whirlwind weeks of globetrotting.
In this video, we want to take you with us on our trip to Italy, Greece, Egypt. We want to regale you with history, show you what it's like to travel with a bunch of young kids, and give you a glimpse into our lives during these times of retreat and restoration. Forgive us if this vlog's a little bit longer than some of the other ones. One of the reasons we make these videos is for our family, just to be able to remember these experiences too.
Traveling from here in the mountains of Papua New Guinea all the way to Greece is just as challenging as traveling from here to the United States. It's 4 or 5 flights and over 40 hours of travel.
But despite the challenges, traveling with kids is a great blessing. We called this trip our Dawn of Civilization trip, as we visited places where the culture has shaped human civilization as we know it. I love history, and as we embarked on this trip, I thought of a few of my favorite quotes. Historian Will Durant said that the present is the past rolled up for action, and the past is the present unrolled for understanding. Another of my favorite historians, David McCullough, says that the digital watch is the perfect symbol of imbalance because it tells us only what time it is now, as if that is all we should wish to know. I was excited for our family to experience history and learn about God's world firsthand as we traveled to some incredible sights.
Our first stop was Rome. We arrived exhausted at our picturesque Airbnb north of Rome.
Yay!
The next day, fueled by espresso for him, we walked through the Roman Forum. This was the site of public meetings, open-air markets, and the heartbeat of life in ancient Rome 2,000 years ago. One of our favorite sites was the Arch of Titus, built by the Emperor Domitian in 81 AD. This arch has history engraved into its side. Scenes depict the Romans destroying the Temple of Jerusalem in 70 AD as Christ prophesied in the Bible. The Arch of Titus is biblical history carved in stone.
Our last stop for the day was the Colosseum. This massive 55,000-seat ancient marvel was commissioned by Roman Emperor Vespasian. Janae and I both teared up as we walked through the arched entrance. We imagined Christians who were led beneath these same arches to be martyred in the arena, fed to wild animals, or killed by gladiators.
Only one day in, and our time in Italy was already memorable for a lifetime. In between the sites, we navigated crowded cobblestone streets, avoided getting run over by mopeds, and stopped for frequent gelato breaks.
What do you guys think of the gelato?
Some of the best I've got here.
The next day, we headed to the Borghese Gallery. The Borghese Gallery is in the serene and lively Borghese Gardens, a large outdoor park where tourists drive communal bicycles and where Romans sit on benches playing accordions.
The Borghese is filled with incredible sculptures by Bernini and paintings by Caravaggio. The marble sculptures of Bernini are astounding, particularly one where Daphne transfigures into a tree to escape from Apollo. Daphne's hands become delicate leaves in this triumph of Baroque art. I also thought it was interesting to learn that Caravaggio's work, David with the Head of Goliath, the artist painted his face onto Goliath's head.
The kids loved taking pictures inside the Borghese Museum, and we were impressed how relatively quiet they were to be inside the museum, which is not really typical for our kids.
The following day, we drove north through Italian wine country to visit the ancient city of Bagnoregio, perched up on a hill. It is called the Dying City because the hill is slowly eroding. It was one of the most picturesque places we have ever been. Our hearts filled with Italian countryside. The next day, we embarked on a whirlwind guided tour of the Vatican, the Sistine Chapel, and St. Peter's Basilica.
We soaked in the beautiful works by Raphael and sat in silence beneath the arched Sistine Chapel, mesmerized by Michelangelo's ceiling and depiction of the Last Judgment. So good.
Yeah, it's awesome.
They don't allow any photos or noise in the Sistine Chapel. It was moving to stand in silence with hundreds of people, phones away, who were lost in contemplation of beauty. We all need more moments like this of screen-free awe.
St. Peter's Basilica is a behemoth. Pictures cannot do it justice. It took over 100 years to build and is filled with ornate beauty and gold plating. As I walked through St. Peter's, I pondered the Protestant Reformation. St. Peter's Basilica is grand and ornate beyond words, but it was mostly paid for with the sale of indulgences. I wrestled with the tension between works of beauty created by humans and the corrupt means that went into funding those works. I could empathize with Martin Luther, though, who saw church leaders becoming wealthy through the exploitation of the gospel. It was a great reminder, whether Protestant, Catholic, agnostic, or secular, every human heart is tempted with greed and idolatry. I'm not immune. After our day in the Vatican, I went for one last run through the Roman countryside. We then left for the Amalfi Coast, about 5 hours southeast of Rome.
We're just about to leave Rome. What'd you think of Rome?
It was awesome. There were definitely hard parts with 6 kids in like small areas, but they did great and it was really fun.
What was your favorite part?
I liked going to the Vatican yesterday. That was really cool. The Colosseum was really awesome. Yeah, and the villa. You can't see it from here, but the villa is great.
On the way, we traveled back to 79 AD to the coastal town of Pompeii, which was buried under 20 feet of ash when nearby Mount Vesuvius erupted and pyroclastic flows covered the town and its 20,000 inhabitants. After 300 years of excavation, you can now step back in time to this ancient city.
There are beautiful, vibrant frescoes painted with red mercury, mosaic-filled spas, and the remnants of outdoor restaurants. You can see the grooves in the cobblestone streets from ancient carts, and white stones line the streets to act as reflectors at night.
One funny memory is that after our tour, our family sat outside Pompeii enjoying some refreshments when a large group of French ladies came by and inquired, like many did on our trip, "Are all of these children yours?" When we replied affirmatively, they began to exclaim and count excitedly in French, and they gave us a standing ovation. We gratefully received their accolades. Traveling with young kids is not easy, but it is worth it.
We've never been applauded before for having 6 kids.
It was due. It was due.
Sadly, our time in Italy came to a close too quickly, and we were soon driving back to the airport. We hopped on a plane for a short flight from Rome to Athens, and unfortunately it was on this short flight that the airline managed to lose one piece of luggage that contained all of the clothes for our 6 kids.
When I asked the lady at the counter to look up the baggage tag, she said it wasn't in the system, and they had no idea where our bag was or when it would arrive. She was not very engaged in finding out things for us. At the end of a long and unfruitful time at the counter, I said, "Thank you very much for your help." And as we were walking away, Walter looked at me and he says, "Daddy, why did you tell her thank you for help when she really wasn't helpful at all?" I am glad I was able to set a good example for him in that moment, because there are plenty of others where I blow it.
After spending a week in Rome, where that was mostly just a vacation for our family, we made it to Greece, in Athens, where we were attending a Restore conference for World Medical Mission.
Over the next week, the highlight of our vacation was spending time at the Restore conference with people who have become like family to us. This group of medical missionaries are treasures. They serve as doctors all over the world, from Kenya to Gabon to South America. After a week in Italy, where almost no one had more than 1 or 2 kids, we were thrilled to see our co-missionaries, many of whom had 2, 3, 4, or 5 children.
We hiked, we prayed, we sang, we laughed, and we cried together. Being a medical missionary is not easy. It was so life-giving to spend time with and be encouraged by our dear friends.
One of our highlights during our time in Greece was visiting ancient Corinth, the city where the Apostle Paul lived for 1.5 years and to whom he wrote the letters of 1st and 2nd Corinthians. We visited ancient Corinth on Janae's birthday. It was practically empty of people. We wandered through mesmerizing ruins and gazed at the grand temple of Apollo. We went to the very spot where the Apostle Paul was put on trial before Gallio in Acts 18. We shared the ground with this historic and heroic figure of Christian faith and the man whose writings continue to shape our world 2,000 years later.
In the evening, we found a restaurant that was overlooking ancient Corinth. We savored Greek souvlaki as we watched the sunset over the ruins. It was one of the best days of our lives, definitely the best birthday. So sweet, baby.
We're doing Janae's birthday dinner at a restaurant overlooking ancient Corinth as the sun sets. It's not bad. Not bad. How's your Greek gelato on your birthday, Janae?
It's delicious.
Good.
Made strawberry gelato.
I am glad that we saw ancient Corinth, because our visit later to the Acropolis, though interesting, was overcrowded with people, and Eleanor had a meltdown at the Acropolis that will forever live in the infamy of our family.
Our time in Greece was less about sightseeing and more about fellowship, calm walks on the ocean, and time with God. Marathon, Greece is one of our family's favorite places on earth.
Yeah, can we jump back?
Well, we found a tortoise at the top of the mountain. Why in the world a tortoise is up here, I have no idea.
That is awesome! We found the tortoise!
Now at the end of our time in Greece, it already felt like we had lived 2 incredible vacations.
But when Janae and I looked at the pain involved with traveling to Greece, we thought, why not take a direct flight from Athens to Cairo and see Egypt on the way home? Janae has been to Egypt before, but none of the rest of us have. So we took the leap and spent 3 nights in Egypt on our travels back from Greece. It is amazing to see how dramatically a 1-hour flight can change the scenery. We left the greenery of Greece and descended into the desert, where sand filled the air like smoke. It was the most dramatic cultural transition since our move to Papua New Guinea.
Say hello.
Made it to Egypt.
I don't think that's so perfect. Our first day in Egypt, we traveled to the pyramids of Giza. We rode behind horses or on top of camels as we soaked in the pyramids of Giza, which were constructed 4,600 years ago. From modern times to the pyramids is approximately 150 generations.
The pyramids take the cake as my favorite sight that we saw on our entire vacation, surpassing even Italy and Greece. We walked around Khufu and Khafre and descended into the burial shaft of the Pyramid of Menkaure.
Milo, just wait a second.
Your arms are strong, helping everyone down that whole day.
6.
There were very few people at the pyramids, and at many times our family was surrounded by these ancient monuments with no one else in sight. At one point, our guide took us to a newly opened tomb where a guard literally unlocked the door for us and led us into this beautiful underground tomb.
Wait, Milo.
We needed to watch our step and watch our children, because in one of the areas we explored, there were uncovered funeral shafts that dropped down 60 feet with no markings or gates, just 60-foot holes in the sand. I held the baby's hands a bit tighter after we saw this.
Nothing like a carriage ride through Egypt to get the kids asleep.
After exploring the pyramids and posing with the Sphinx, we did a cruise of the Nile and then headed south to Sakara and Dashur the following day to marvel at hieroglyphics and pyramids even older than the Great Pyramids. final day before we flew home, we explored the Grand Egyptian Museum. This behemoth museum is brand new and it's filled with a larger collection of Egyptian artifacts than anywhere else in the world. It had officially opened its main galleries just 2 weeks before our trip, and the museum was spectacular. We could have spent days exploring there. And delightfully, it had a Starbucks and some great restaurants inside.
All right, we're starting our journey home. We can hopefully be back in Papua New Guinea in 35 hours. We are in Cairo right now, driving to the airport. It's been a great trip, and going home is going to be so much fun.
We hope that you enjoyed this glimpse into what October looked like for our family. We're now back in wonderful, beautiful Papua New Guinea, and of course, we love you all and so grateful for your prayers. Thank you guys.
God bless.
See you later.
More updates soon. Bye.
Smile. Forward, no running.